In the year 2000, Michelle Yeoh starred in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It was the movie that completely changed the landscape of kung fu movies for the next decade. So much so that by the year 2023, she'd won an Oscar in a kung fu role. But she was never meant to win. So how did she go from this in 1983 to this exactly 40 years later? Yeoh was born in 1962, Malaysia, to the name Yeoh Chu Kin. She began formal ballet training at the age of 4, studying through the Royal Academy of Dance. At 15, her and her family moved to England and attended the Hammond School in Chester, continuing her dance studies until she got a back injury. Moving away from dance, she went into modeling at 20, winning the Miss Malaysia World Contest in 1983. That victory sent her on to Miss World 1983 in London, where she placed 18th, and then on to Miss Muba International in 1984 in Australia, where she also won. This was the win that got her her modeling contracts, both in print and in commercials, much like our friend Jason Statham.
You know, work jewellery and pitch jewellery on the streets.
Did some modelling.
You're right.
Her campaign for the brand Guy Laroche watches featured Jackie Chan, or rather featured her. And it was this very campaign that caught the eye of D&B Films, the up-and-coming Hong Kong studio that would launch her career. At first, she knew very little Cantonese, but picked it up quickly before appearing in her first movie in 1984, directed by the legendary Sammo Hung. The movie was called The Owl vs. Bombo, where incidentally she is credited as Michelle Khan. The role was only a small one, and she didn't really know how to act nor how to fight. And this was followed by Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Stars, again directed by Hung. And again she had a small role, cameoing as a judo instructor. Again, she didn't know how to act or fight. And this was all before her big break came in 1985 with the movie Yes, Madam. This was her first real starring role, alongside another legendary star. But we'll talk about her another time. Only 2 years removed from her Miss Malaysia World win, she was now the lead in a movie, again with no acting training or fight training. But the benefit that she had was that she did ballet before. And it was the same for Van Damme. It's a bit of a cheat code because on-screen fighting is like a dance. So being trained in dance, especially ballet, helps dramatically. That's why it's called choreography. To get ready for the role, she took a handful of taekwondo and wushu lessons, honing her precision, timing, and coordination through daily drills and performing her own stunts on set. To date, this remains one of the most legendary Hong Kong movies ever made. It is almost universally credited as the definitive Hong Kong female-led action picture, at least in the sense of pioneering the girls with guns subgenre. In fact, they sparked off a line of movies dubbed the In the Line of Duty series, which were all kind of sequels, with only one of these sequels starring Michelle Yeoh, still dubbed Michelle Khan at the time. The movie was called Royal Warriors and released a year later. But just 2 years and 2 movies later, that was it for the actress dubbed Michelle Khan. She quit. She married mega-rich Hong Kong business magnate Dixon Poon in 1988 and stopped acting. Poon was also the man who hired her for her commercial with Jackie Chan, and he was one of the financiers behind her movies. So, no nepotism there then.
Crap, mistake. Okay, technically, yes, it was nepotism.
So that was it, right? marriage, kids, happiness, video over. Please hit the like button and subscribe. I'll see you soon. Well, no. Thankfully for us, they separated in 1991, and she wasted no time getting back on the saddle, as to speak. Excuse the pun.
Why are you the way that you are?
Because she went big, teaming up with Jackie Chan again for Police Story 3 Supercop. And what a comeback. The movie was a smash hit and a critical success. And it seemed like her 4 years away from the business made her even braver. In one of the film's most notorious stunts, she leapt from the roof of a truck onto the hood of a moving convertible. On the first take, the windshield failed to shatter as planned. She slid off the car onto oncoming traffic. And it was only sheer luck and Chan's quick thinking that prevented a far worse outcome. Remarkably, she got up and completed the stunt on the next take. And this movie was just a taste of things to come, because she then began working with Yen Ping, the man behind the choreography of the Matrix movies and a great filmmaker himself. Tai Chi Master alongside Jet Li and Wing Chun are classics, especially Wing Chun, a movie featuring the amazing Donnie Yen. And at this point, in the early 90s, she was by far the hugest female star doing her own stunts in the world. And to follow that up, Supercop 2 was her without Jackie Chan headlining the franchise.
An adventure thriller with the hottest action heroine, Michelle Yeoh, and Jackie Chan, as you've never seen him before. Supercop 2.
However, what's up with these Supercop numbers? How did 2 come after 3? And what's up with the Supercop numbers? I mean, surely 2 comes before 3, right? But in 1996, whilst making the movie, the stunt woman, a near career-ending stunt, made her seriously want to quit forever, until an unlikely hero came to her rescue.
At that point, I was thinking maybe I should just rethink this whole action thing. Maybe it's time to take a step back, maybe do something else, I don't know. And it was at that point when Quentin came to town. Okay, so I'm sitting in the living room with my, neck brace and all that, very steady. And suddenly I see this huge guy come bounding down the stairs. Hi, Michelle! Then he picks up a pillow, throws it on the ground, literally just sits at my feet and starts to talk about my movies and what inspired him, and going frame for frame into the first action sequence that I'd ever done, like going through through a pane of glass and all that. And so, as I spoke with him, I realized, and I started getting very excited. And then next thing, my people were like, can you please stop waving your arms around? Just sit still. And then I realized it's true. When you love something, you can't just give up on it. So I have Quentin to thank for that.
And thanks to Tarantino, she got back on the, no, I won't do the pun again, but
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
But thanks to this man, she found the courage to work again.
I'm shutting your butt down.
First doing a more dramatic role with the Sun sisters, before Hollywood finally came calling in 1997, but not just any Hollywood, no, this guy.
Bond. James Bond.
Well, technically more this guy.
Name's Bond. James Bond.
Tomorrow Never Dies was the second Pierce Brosnan movie after the franchise's mini reboot. And to date, yes, almost 30 years on, she remains the only Asian actor to co-headline a Bond film, which is mad if you think about it. Does this mean we were more progressive 30 years ago? It's kind of mad, right? I mean, 30 years ago, we had an Asian co-star in a Bond movie. I mean, are we more progressive then than now? And all of this because while promoting her Hong Kong films, Yeoh happened to meet Jack Kleeman, the then vice president in charge of production at United Artists. He was impressed by her action credentials and invited her to audition for the part of the Chinese intelligence operative in the next Bond picture, initially named Ling Pao. That's not at all racist, is it?
Yeah, a little.
And that was it. However, she did insist upon them giving her a more authentic Chinese name, Wai Ling. And this was also the first time she used the name Michelle Yeoh in any movie role. And she is certainly one of the best ever Bond females. And with this movie being released in 1997, it was only 3 years later until what is arguably her best movie was released. With Hollywood suddenly having a fetish for kung fu movies with successful cultural moments like The Matrix, The Wu-Tang Clan, and Rush Hour being within the cultural consciousness, it was the perfect time for the movie Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The movie remains a masterpiece. Yeoh was always the first choice for the role, alongside Chow Yun-fat. And it must be said, he actually had no martial arts training himself, and he didn't have any dance training to help him out. The movie is beautiful. It made $214 million on just a $17 million budget, racking up 10 Oscar nominations and 4 wins. So Best Foreign Language Film, Best Art Direction, Best Original Score, and Best Cinematography. And really, this should have been an Oscar nomination for Yeoh as Best Supporting Actress as well, either replacing Frances McDormand or Kate Hudson for Almost Famous. Her quiet, powerful performance showed just how much she'd grown as an actress since the 80s. In fact, actress Zhang Zi should have been nominated for Best Actress. And she was also incredibly good in the 2 incredible action movies, Hero and House of the Flying Daggers. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna watch them now. Amazing. Look at this scene. How awesome. Anyway, back to Michelle Yeoh. In the 2000s, Hollywood had a new bestie. Memoirs of a Geisha, Sunshine, The Mummy Part 3, which is damn awful but teamed her up with Jet Li again, were all Hollywood tentpole movies, which showed that she had finally crossed over. The 2000s kinda were like, need an Asian actress that's not Lucy Liu? Well, hire Michelle Yeoh. And then in the 2010s, when Lucy Liu was less relevant, it was just, need an Asian actress? Hire Michelle Yeoh. She starred in Kung Fu Panda, Mechanic Resurrection, alongside this guy.
You're right.
See, these videos are not AI. That was a great callback.
You're right.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2, as well as appearing in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon Part 2, or to call it by its government name, Sword of Destiny. And then there was also Master Z, Ip Man Legacy, part of the Ip Man franchise, which, by all accounts, is not a bad movie. And also, did you know she appears in 2 different Marvel movies as 2 different characters? Once in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and also in Shang-Chi. Honestly, I'm not sure how that works, but if anyone knows, let me know in the comments, because honestly, I can't bother to research that. It doesn't make any sense. So as far as Hollywood goes, from the year 1997 with Tomorrow Never Dies, it was just non-stop success for Yeoh. But truly, no one could predict what would happen next. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once should not be a movie. There, I said it. It should not be a movie. It should not exist. The directing duo, the Daniels, shouldn't have had a chance to make this movie. Their first movie, Swiss Army Man, starring Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe, was a flop. Quirky, fun, zany, but it flopped. They began writing Everything Everywhere All at Once with Jackie Chan in mind. But things changed when they decided the protagonist should actually be a woman, and Michelle Yeoh was the obvious choice. But then, to just come back to the fact this movie should never have been made, this movie was also made during the lockdowns of 2020. Editing occurred throughout 2020 to 2021 under the pandemic restrictions, which meant that it didn't come out until March 2022. Also, it stars this guy from like 1984.
Wow, holy smoke! Crash landing!
Short round. Step on it.
This guy, who we'd not heard of since 1984, also had his film debut in the same year that Michelle Yeoh had her film debut, in 1984. And that's not the weirdest thing. The movie is about a woman having an existential crisis, but also kicking ass. But it's also about dildos and rocks. And it also stars Jamie Lee Curtis. Yes, her. She broke the internet recently by doing this.
Hi, everybody. It's Jamie Lee Curtis. Come see Freakier Friday.
And she only really came to prominence as an actress who could do more than scream with Trading Places in 1983. Yes, the year that Yeoh was spotted from her modeling trophies. Again, weird coincidence.
Please to help me with my rucksack.
Also, she won an Oscar for this movie with Sausage Fingers. Again, this movie should not exist. But most importantly, Michelle Yeoh won an Oscar. And not just any Oscar, the Best Actress Oscar. And deservedly so, for a powerfully layered performance. And it is one of the most popular wins in Hollywood history. So much so that Yeoh has broken the Hollywood curse. That curse where you win an Oscar and then you just make flops after. Because she has appeared in the hugely successful movie Wicked, with part 2 coming out this year, which will also be a success. As well as voicing a character in the box office record-breaking Chinese animation movie Nizar 2. And with rumors of her appearing in Avatar 4 and 5, there's every chance that Michelle Yeoh could go on to becoming the highest grossing movie actress of all time. And honestly, no one deserves it more. She's been one of the bravest, nicest, realest, and most ambitious actors in cinema history. And all of this from a former ballet, no martial arts knowing, never acting trained, ex-model. It goes to show you that being nice and extremely focused can bring you success.
This is proof that dreams dream big and dreams do come true. And ladies, don't let anybody tell you you are ever past your prime. Never give up.
Right, ratings time. For skills, this one is tricky, but as stated, she was not initially trained in any martial arts, and just ballet. But over the years, she has honed her skills, and on screen, she looks so trained. So it's gonna have to be a 6 here. And I'm basing that on her trained skills rather than her on-the-job skills, because on the job, she's proven herself to be up there with the best. With movies, I mean, no one in the series so far has movies as stacked as her. And in the series so far, no one's accumulative box office comes close. Well, apart from Jason Statham, who has beaten her by $3 billion. But she's going to beat that with Wicked Part 2 coming out this year, and Avatar 4 and Avatar 5 if she stars in them. So it's a 10 here. Being honest, even for just Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, it's a 10. For screen presence, there can only be one Michelle Yeoh. She is undeniable. She is inevitable. Her screen presence, even in her earlier movies, is incredible. It's a 10 here. For versatility, I'll say just one word: Oscar. No other person in this series so far even has a nomination, much less a win. Not even Wesley Snipes. And I doubt there'll be many others in this series with a nomination, and most likely 0 with a win. So it's a 10 here. And to be clear here, this is not just about the Oscars. She is adept at action, drama, comedy. She can do it all. And finally, legacy. Well, as far as actresses go, she has to be the #1 female action star ever in the history of cinema. Some may say Sigourney Weaver, but honestly, she hasn't got the track record to back that up. Others might say Scarlett Johansson, who does have the track record. But if you're old school, you might think her. But nah, it's Yeoh. And that is worth a 10. And that is a score of 46, which means, ironically, she ties with Jackie Chan. And if I'm being completely honest here, she should really get a 7 for skills rather than a 6. So I would actually place her above Chan with 47. However, this time I'm going to let you guys vote. In the comments, write 6 or 7s, and I'll tally it up and see which she deserves. If she gets enough 7s, she'll be top of the list, and if it's more 6s, then she'll stay where she is. In the next video, I'll reveal the results. And honestly, if she does get a 47, I'm not going to be mad at it at all. She's a gem, and it was only during the researching and crafting of this video did I realize how incredible she was. And I think sometimes we do take her for granted. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the 2 back-to-back videos. I've been a busy boy, so I would love if you could hit the like button and subscribe. And finally, if this video reaches 4,000 likes, I'll do a Jet Li video. Peace out and big love. I mean, what's with the yo? I can clearly see it's yow. What's with the yo?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!